All right, good evening, everyone. It is Monday, October 21st. It is 7:07 p.m. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Oh, looks like our technical difficulties have resolved themselves.
I think it just needed to be shut down.
Oh, the computer?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's probably what it was. It is, again, this is a regular meeting of the town council, 7:07 p.m. The following town council members are present in chambers: Prisco, Kohut, Mauer, Lapellis, Formicella, O'Rourke, Wales, and Duva. The following town council member is present remotely: Reed. And at this time, I'm going to recognize our first selectman, who would like to speak on two memorials related to individuals that have given great service to the town of Monroe. Mr. First Selectman.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Just to start off, we had a longtime employee pass away last week, Carol Buckholz. She worked for us in the finance department for 40 years. Her position was her life. She was the first one in the morning, the first one in the morning and the last one to leave. She was diagnosed with an illness, and she'll be sorely missed. She worked very hard, very diligently. She was a great asset in the Board of Finance, great human being. I'll miss her because I used to walk through the hallways. She called me her buddy. One of my finest moments with her, and Bill know by knowing her, she was trying to get into a door going down the hallway. And I said, Carol, what are you doing? She goes, I'm breaking and entering. You know, she had a great sense of humor. Everybody adored her. Heidi, our assistant finance director, was really so pivotal towards the end of her life, helping her with everything she needed. But she lost that battle. Her services were last week. It's a very sad moment for Town Hall. So I'd just like to do a moment of silence for her, please, for Carol Buckholz. Thank you. In addition, this one's very painful for the town, a very beloved firefighter, John Bennett, nicknamed JB Bennett. He worked for the volunteer fire department for 20 years. He was a loyal family man, husband, father of 3 children, John Jr., Jackie, and Jesse. He lost his life in surgery last week. It's just a very tragic event. However, as the fire department today did a very graceful, poetic benediction and ceremony for John, bringing out the fire apparatus, law enforcement, and followed by an event at the Monroe Fire Department. Hundreds of people. It was standing room only at the church, and at the fire department, probably 300 people came in support of John. And I knew John personally. I know the family personally. Anybody that he met, he touched. He was a great man, great family man, great firefighter. He'll be sorely lost. And if you don't mind, we'd like to do a moment of silence for him as well. Thank you for that time. Thank you. Back to you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. First Selectman. We'll now go to our consent calendar. Is there any objection to passing consent calendar as presented? Hearing none, passing consent calendar as presented. I ask that communication items A through F be incorporated into the minutes of our meeting. Moving on to number 5, public participation. Is there any member of the public in town council chambers that would like to participate? Seeing none, hearing none, moving on to those who are here digitally. Please remember to unmute your microphone. Star 6 on your phone, or select the microphone with the red line through it to unmute yourself. Once again, is there any member of the public that is here on their phone, their laptop, their tablet, or their personal computer that would like to participate at this time, please remember unmute yourself, *6 on your phone, or deselect the microphone with the red line through it. Hearing none, seeing none, I'm closing public participation. We have no appointments this evening. Moving on to action items. Action item A, Town Council Committee on Finance, Education, Health, and Public Safety matters. Madam Vice Chair.
No, we have not had a meeting in a while.
Thank you very much. Item B, Town Council Committee on Planning, Zoning, Public Works, and Park and Recreation matters. Councilmember Duva.
Not met since our last meeting.
Thank you very much. Moving on to item C, Town Council Committee on Legislative and Administrative Matters. Councilmember Reed.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. We did meet tonight. All three items passed consensus to come to council. We discussed 143, which is the State of Connecticut Department of Transportation Master Municipal Agreement for Rights of Ways projects. We talked about a mail machine lease agreement from Pitney Bowes and a animal control renovation contract. And that was it.
Thank you very much. Moving on to item D, Strategic Planning Committee. We have not met since our last town council meeting. Item E, Open Space Preservation Acquisition Committee. Oh, just one moment before that. This evening, the Board of Education is having their regularly scheduled meeting. They are discussing the demographic portion of their facilities study this evening. Is my understanding that report will be published, if not already, on their website. If you have any questions, you can come to me and I can bring them to the Board of Education regarding that study. I will reiterate from our last two meetings that I will be added as an advisory role to their facility study committee that will come with a recommendation, I believe, probably around summertime this year as to what, in order to prioritize certain improvements to the buildings of the Board of Education. So I will continue to keep town council informed about our meetings as well as the direction of that committee. Again, this is an advisory role, and the committee is really formed to develop recommendations and to prioritize certain improvements. Moving on to item E, Open Space Preservation Acquisition Committee. Councilmember O'Rourke.
Mr. Chairman, we have not met since our last meeting.
Thank you very much. And item F, our first.
Mr. Chair, before we move to the selectmen's update,
is
for the Strategic Planning Committee, I know that a few meetings ago we had put over the Historical Society aspect to that committee, and I was just curious if we had an idea of when we might be meeting for that.
Sure. I'd like to have a meeting most likely in November. So we'll kind of work together on our schedule, see to get something before December, because when the holiday season comes up, it can be difficult. But I would aim for November. I will ask for dates for them as well as our three members.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you. And moving on to our first selectmen's update. First Selectman Rooney.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In an operations update, Paul Corse, who is the head of he is the director of IT, held a cybersecurity training session for town employees and others. It is Cybersecurity Awareness Month, and all staff have been attending a training session on cybersecurity at Town Hall. This is important information to help with security breaches and have knowledge to recognize fraudulent emails. I think the biggest thing that I took from that meeting is that most breaches are user end. However, one thing I didn't know that Paul Corse brought to my attention, he said opening up an email is not enough. It's the prompts after that. So I think that was the big thing. When you talk about cybersecurity, it's about letting people in by following the prompts. But checking an email isn't damaging because they need you to check the email for you to follow the prompts. So he says in almost all cases that he's seen, opening those emails isn't a bad thing. It's what they ask you to do after that, which creates a big part of the issue. But primarily, it was user end in regards to cybersecurity of the email type, right? Phishing and that sort of thing. So that was the knowledge I gained from that. Also, we just spoke about Carol Buckholz. Services for Carol were held at St. Jude's this past Thursday. Carol was our payroll clerk for the town for 40 years. She's a dedicated member of our staff, and she is going to be greatly missed. One thing that came to my attention in the next part of my update was just because interest rates have dropped slightly. I was concerned about how it was going to affect us on the revenue side of the town, because when interest rates drop, sometimes you don't get as much interest through the investment. So I reached out to Frank Dutchess, who offered this to me. Our full budget for interest income is 2.5 million or 625,000 currently. Through the first quarter of our September year to date, interest income is at $878,060. The current interest rate environment calls for declining interest rates throughout the year. This will be reflected in interest income declining in the future quarters. This is consistent with the revenue model we use to build the current year budget. Assuming no unforeseen dramatic interest rates decline, our full year budget outlook remains on track. So once again, this is a Board of Finance thing, but I just want you guys to know that I was paying attention to the fact that the interest rates were lowering and to see how that was affecting us. But so far, no direct impact. As a matter of fact, we did very well in the first quarter. Emergency services update, Monroe Volunteer Fire Department. John Bennett, as we had the moment of silence for, a 20-year volunteer member of the fire department, passed away last week. John was an invaluable veteran at the firehouse, and his kind heart and work ethic will be greatly missed. In regards to a community update, I did go to the Center for Family Justice. As we know, we've did a liaison to the center, and I've been very active with them in their work. As always, Monroe supports our friends at CFJ. The center offers services regularly in our community. This event, the vigil, was held at the Bridgeport Amphitheater, primarily for Sexual Assaults, Domestic Violence Month. And many state legislators were there. It was attended by, in the area of 400 people. It was very well attended. It was very well done. A lot of information. And just an overview of what the center always does and does so well. Also, big truck day at the library. Nicole Signoli never ceases to amaze me in regards to her events. She does an outstanding job. She's always holding great events for the kids, and this was no different. The fire department brought a truck. I think DPW brought a truck. You had a truck there. And there was some other vehicles, and the kids were able to climb in and out of it. And there were probably attended in the area of about 150 people during the day. So that was another great event done by our director at the library. And some of the greatest news we've heard in a while is Aldi. This is a big thing, right? You look on social media. And I attended there. It was well attended. The town of Monroe is excited to have Aldi in town, where residents can save a little money while still getting great quality products. Former First Selectman Ken Kellogg was there. He had a lot to do with some of that. Also, Tony Scott, our state rep. Councilman Jason Maurer was there. Probably the happiest I've ever seen him in my life. But it was a really, really good event. I don't know, Jay, what do you think? Probably about 500 to 600 people while we're there?
I mean, I think it was a lot, I would say. So the line to get in was all the way around. Part of that was the first 100 people in line got a golden ticket worth up to $100 of free groceries. But even past that first 100 groups, the line still kept going. And a lot of people did hang around the ribbon cutting area to actually listen to what was said. All of the employees came out and they did 2 separate ribbon cuttings, one with the town and one with all of their new employees. Then it seemed like the support from their corporate background there also seems to be very strong. So, and like you said, the social media reaction in the town has been very
well
positive.
And very well received.
Get in and we couldn't even find a parking spot. We would have had to park way in the back on dirt.
Jason had to park at
I was
Panera.
at Panera for the ribbon cutting, running up to get there just in time. Tony and I both had to run from different parking lots to get there in time to actually cut the ribbon.
But anyway, it was fantastic, and everything I've heard so far from people who have gone in there, they're very, very happy for that. So it's great, with inflation what it is, to be able to save a few bucks on a few things. It's fantastic. So thank you, Aldi Corporate, for deciding to pick Monroe, United Properties for building it, and P&Z for seeing the benefit of that for our citizens in the surrounding towns. And that's all I have. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Moving on to unfinished business, we have no unfinished business items to discuss this evening. Item A, Resolution 24-143, Madam Vice Chair.
Resolved that Terrence P. Rooney, First Selectman of the Town of Monroe, is authorized to execute and deliver on behalf of the Town of Monroe the State of Connecticut Master Municipal Agreement for right-of-way projects and any associated documents by and between the State of Connecticut for the Municipal Agreement for right-of-way projects.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. There's a motion to adopt Resolution 24-143. Is there a second?
Second.
And by Jason Mauer. Mr. First Selectman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. 10 years ago, the town and state of Connecticut Department of Transportation entered into a master agreement for municipal right-of-way projects, MMA ROW. This agreement expired as of September 29th, 2024, and the state has since provided a new agreement for our consideration. This matter has been reviewed by the town attorney, who has drafted his letter of opinion. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of adopting Resolution 24-143, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, passes 9-0. Item B, Resolution 24-144. Madam Vice Chair.
I move that the Town Council adopt Resolution 24-144. Resolved that Terrence P. Rooney, First Selectman of the Town of Monroe, is authorized to execute and deliver on behalf of the Town of Monroe the Pitney Bowes State and Local Term Rental Agreement and any associated documents by and between Pitney Bowes Incorporated for the town mail machine lease.
Thank you very much. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Kohut. Mr. First Selectman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The town utilizes a mail metering machine leased from Pitney Bowes. Currently, we are within the last few months of our existing 5-year lease agreement with Pitney Bowes, which will expire in March of 2025. Pitney Bowes has provided a new 5-year lease agreement that includes the installation of an updated mail meter required by the USPS, United States Postal Service. Attached for your review and consideration is a new 5-year Sourcewell state and local lease agreement, including the most recent terms and conditions. This new agreement would be effective for a 5-year term and represents an increase of $77.95 per month compared to our existing agreement. Staff did confirm with Pitney Bowes that we are receiving the best possible pricing, as the Sourcewell agreement is a cooperative government contract. Pitney Bowes remains the best solution based upon included services and the high volume of the municipality. This agreement has been reviewed by our town attorney, who provided the attached opinion letter.
Thank you. Any other discussion?
I had a question, Mr. Chairman.
Go right ahead.
I may just have missed it, but I know we know what the increase is, but what was the base amount? Did I miss? Is it in here somewhere?
Yeah, it's in the contract. I think it was, might have been.
The payment plan part in the email version, you can see all.
Yeah, it's cut off on the printed version.
Oh, yeah.
It's the bottom of the second page,
Yep.
but it was cut off on the printed version.
Yeah, there-
Pull it up on the email real quick.
Does anyone know what it is?
I can email that to you.
1 second, I can pull it up. And,
Like a 14.
There's a one.
it's downloading.
Didn't want town hall online for whatever reason.
We'll tell you, if there's one machine in town hall that's on fire, that's the one.
Sure.
Right, it is, go down to that page. Monthly amount is $411.07, billed quarterly at 12/33/21.
Or 11. So it was.
So before that, it was,
411.07.
it's like new monthly, yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Before that, it was 70, $8 less than that.
Okay.
Thank you.
About $335.
Yes.
Thank you. Nothing else.
All right, thank you. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of adopting resolution 24-144, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, passes 9-0. Moving on to item C, Madam Vice Chair.
I move the town council adopt resolution 24-145. Resolved that Terrence P. Rooney, first selectman of the town of Monroe, is authorized to execute and deliver on behalf of the town of Monroe the animal control renovation contract and any associated documents by and between Zeiss Construction Group for the animal control renovation project.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. Is there a second? Second by Donaldin Wales. Mr. First Selectman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Early this year, the town issued a request for proposals for the animal control renovation project. 3 bids were received, one of which was determined to be acceptable by our Director of Public Works. The majority of the project will be funded through a steep grant, which has been awarded to the town in the amount of $500,000. Included for your review and consideration is a contract which incorporates the RFP document and proposal as submitted. This matter has been reviewed by our town attorney, who has provided his letter of opinion. In addition, just like in LNA, Assistant Director Bill Phillips is here for any particulars or any questions you may have regarding this project. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. First Selectman. Any other discussion?
Mr. Chair?
Councilmember Mauer.
Just that we did go over this a little bit in LNA with a few questions asked there that I'll make the council aware of. One, this was the low bid of, I believe it was 3 bids that we were considering. I did ask based off of our purchasing plan and our plan in Monroe as to whether there were any local bids for Monroe companies, because that is something that can be taken into consideration. There were no local bids, so there's nothing to consider with that. And then we also discussed as to whether or not we felt this company, based off of their references, was the right company to go with. Our engineering consultant had said that they believe they will be very strong on this project. And then whether or not the total price point here is reasonable given the current economic climate, which our Deputy Director, Bill Phillips, said it was. Obviously 8 months ago, it might have been a little bit different, but right now this is a fair price, and going out to bid again or to rebid this project would likely result in a higher cost. So those are the things for us to consider. As such, I plan on supporting this.
Thank you, Councilmember Mauer. Councilmember Mauer, I don't know if I will repeat if you did say this, but if it was $500,000 from the grant, and then the remaining funds were going to be used from the duty fund of the police department, right, Mr. First Selectman? All right.
Yeah, so the private duty fund is the money that goes into the overtime officers. What's not spent is going into the private fund, and because it's a police-related structure, Chief of Police is fully willing to work with us on that, so that's how that's working. The other thing is, on this project, there is some value engineering, which may hopefully save us even some more money, but getting into that phase.
Thank you very much. Any other discussion on this item? Hearing none, all those in favor of adopting resolution 24-145, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, passes 9-0. We have no unfinished matters of unfinished business. We have no unfinished matters of new business. There is no second public participation tonight. I'm adjourning this meeting at 7:31 p.m. Thank you, everyone.